baby steps and figuring this things out and, you know, taking everybody's temperature. And the plan is to now be open for business. And I think what that means is that, you know, soon we'll be getting proposals and we'll be looking at the proposals and thinking about, okay, this store is perfect for that space, so let's go ahead. And so then it takes a while to negotiate a lease, and then once a lease is signed, it takes a while for a retail tenant to build out their store. So my expectation is that we'll have leases signed around the end of the year, maybe sooner, maybe later, and that we would then have our first stores opening in the spring of 2012. And it's not so much as important when it starts as, you know, let's get 12 retail stores in all the spaces so that a year from now we have the beginning of the rest of our lives with new tenants really adding a lot to the retail corridor and existing tenants you know, basically having high levels of standards with their own products and services. So, you know, that's the timing. And now I believe we have some organizational speakers. So I guess I'll sit down, and if there's a Q&A, great. If not, if it's more of a comment, we'll just listen.
That's why we're here. Here's what we're going to do. I do have some people who have signed up with me ahead of time who represent island organizations, and we'll take them first. And then you are all most welcome to speak. Now what we're going to do, this gentleman sitting right here with the right red arm is Aaron Hamburger, chair of the RERA Island Services Committee. He will be collecting and collating the cards that you were asked to fill out so that we can try to get as big a range of questions as we can in what is, after all, a finite amount of time. One other thing I want to mention to you. That young lady standing right over there is holding a petition. If you have not signed that petition, do it tonight. David and Jonathan, you are members of the family. Sign the post office petition. I spoke to Congresswoman Maloney yesterday. She has saved a post office in Astoria. She is thinking that we are on our way to saving this one, but we can't let up. Here's what's happening. You know that back in August, we gave Carolyn Maloney 2,000 signatures. It's my intention to give her 1,000 more to take to the Postmaster General of the United States. That's how we get it done. So if you haven't filled out that petition, now's the time. Here we go. Our first speaker, no surprise here, is Judy Birdie of the Roosevelt Island Historical Society. What a surprise. She has specifically asked to speak about the arcades on the Eastwood side. All yours, Judy.
Can you all hear me? I'm going to face the audience. David filmed me since 1996. The day he and David Wine walked on the island, and I gave them a tour. And I said to them, you'll have to combine these two communities. It takes a while. I want to thank you all. I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to thank David. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. My God, it's better than Christmas. The arcades are interesting. I know there's a lot to be done that's more important than the arcades and the glass. I want the glass safe, and there are ways also to remove some of the columns in Eastwood. A year or two ago, a bus hit one of the columns next to the video store. We thought Eastwood was going to fall down. It turned out a bunch of those columns are fake, and they can come down. They're only holding up the air. So that's one of my points. New graphics, definitely. New benches, as long as they're comfortable for my 90-plus-year-old mom who lives with me now, they're fine. You can't have any of these really weird benches that are uncomfortable to sit on. Removal of the bollards, all those slanted bollards along the Eastwood corridor. I don't know, the only thing I can do is rest my butt on them. Please get rid of those bollards. Directions, bollards, Is that better? Forgive me. Directional signage. Directional signage to the new shops, the new Main Street, must start at the train station and at the subway station and at Motorgate. We have 13,000 people come in the visitor center. The last year we were open full time. People don't know where to go. There is no directional signage on this island that is appropriate or that works or that even exists in most places. So I asked David Kramer and your group to work with our wonderful friends at RIAC to put up directional signage all over this place. People don't know where to go. They get off the train, they make a U-turn, and they go back. The only other thing is lots more trees, lots more greenery, make the church plaza beautiful, make it warm and inviting. You look at the visitor center kiosk, which we're damn proud of, and look at the landscaping around it. Look how that bare little building is enhanced by beautiful landscaping that is not a fortune, and it brings the building to life. Our buildings were built with 1960s cement texture. They are stark. They are concrete blocks, and good landscaping around them, good landscaping around the bases of the buildings, around the chapel plaza, will bring a new life to the island. That's all I can say. I thank everyone for coming. I thank David, and I met Katie at a planning meeting last week. I heard her say Good Shepherd. Anyhow, so I wish you all the best luck in this endeavor, and let's all work together for this to make our Main Street and our community better.
Thank you. Actually, the reason we sort of went into details about the branding and the signage and the font and the color is that, Judy, it's absolutely our intent that whatever we come up with for the retail corridor, you are here, this way to the post office, this way to the church, that it should be replicated. And I actually told that to Leslie Torres. I said, you guys should piggyback whatever we're doing, and whatever the fonts we come up with, if you like it, then it should be replicated. Because, you walk out of the tram, you walk out of the subway, and you have no idea where you're going. And so RIAC's directional signage should basically take whatever we come up with for the retail corridor and expand it for the whole island, because it's not going to be that long from now that there's an FDR memorial. There are going to be visitors to the island. There may be a hotshot tech campus coming to Goldwater. And when people come off the tram and the subway and they're like, well, where do I go? It would be nice to know, this way to South Park and this way to get an ice cream cone. So that's absolutely our intent, is to have RIAC replicate our whole branding for the whole island.
Okay, our next speaker is Jeff Carr, who, among other things, is Scoutmaster of Troop 59. Jeff, are you here? Here we go.
I'm Jeff Carr, Scoutmaster of Troop 59, Roosevelt Island's community troop.
Face your glass.
You want to see my pretty face?
Yes.
I thought I was speaking to
They can hear you.
I'm Jeff Carr, Scoutmaster of Troop 59, Roosevelt Island's community troop. And as sort of evidence of this, I brought a few friends with me. Would you please stand up and show your faces? You will note that we're all wearing the motto of the Boy Scouts on Main Street flag. The troop is formed at the very beginning of this community. The Scouts are almost 100% from the community, and the troop has played an active role in the community. We've carried the flag at Halloween parades, we have led Halloween parades, and of course, have always started in 1976. Now everyone can see me. And have always, starting in 1976, provided the community with Christmas trees. Rio has always been supportive of the troop and made physical facilities available. We presently run a 15-seater passenger van which was purchased through a public purpose fund grant from Rio and is made available to other community organizations as a community service. Many moons ago, when my then 7-year-old son decided to become a Cub Scout, the Cub Scout used to meet in a room in the basement of Island House, which subsequently became the kitchen to the Green Kitchen restaurant, which is now known as Trace. After that, for a couple of decades, the space at 503 Main Street was used by various youth organizations, including the Scouts and the FDR Day organizers, until we all took it back because they thought they had rented. The troop then had a brief, disastrous sojourn in the sports park, and have been in our present space at 615 Main Street since 1998. Membership in the troop is open to all youth, and it very much reflects the diverse nature of the island population, both economically and ethnically. It has always been important to the troop that all members can participate in all activities, and therefore funding of the troop is critical. Our annual sales of Christmas trees is our major fundraising, and without this the troop would not continue to function as it has in the past. We have been advised that we will be required to vacate our present home in the very near future, and have so far not been offered a workable alternative. Consequently, the troop has not ordered any trees for sale this Christmas, as we cannot make a $5,000 commitment without knowing we will have the facilities we need to be able to sell. Over the decades, the troop has accumulated a considerable amount of stuff, if you will. We have the office troop equipment such as tents, cooking gear, and wood tools. Many scouts do not own sleeping bags, and we therefore have a supply of bag of sleeping bags to be lent. We have loaner backpacks. We have a large quantity of ski clothing which can be handed out when we go on ski trips in the winter time. We have supplies and equipment for use in tree sales, etc., etc. We have a lot of stuff to go somewhere. We have indicated that we need somewhere secure to store our equipment, somewhere to meet, preferably where we store our equipment, and ready access for people and for loading and unloading vehicles. The troop now occupies what is probably the crummiest piece of space on the island. A dog's leg left over from the bank space when the bank space was carved out of the larger space previously occupied by a print shop. Its size and layout cannot be altered unless either the bank or the Chinese restaurant move. There is ample space available on the island to rent, it seems to me, and it makes no sense to me to evict the Boy Scouts so this space can stand vacant. My request is that we be allowed to continue the use of this space until such times a more economic use is found for it. We would, of course, cooperate fully in all ways possible to assist in the upgrading of appearances, making it available for prospective tenants to see, etc. Without workable facilities, the troop will probably be unable to service the community youth as it has in the past, and will probably cease to exist.
Our next speaker is Joyce Winship, representing the Roosevelt Landing Residents Association.
David, I must commend you. You, I think, won some favor in the hearts of Eastwood residents tonight, simply by calling Eastwood by its politically correct name. I wanted to point out to you how that arcade is actually used. First of all, you have to keep in mind that we have 1,003 units in Roosevelt Landing / Eastwood. So we've got a huge population. And a lot of people from across the street, when the weather gets bad, they come over and cross the street and use our arcade as well. So I'm taking a page out of Jeff Kerr's Boy Scout handbook and ask you, if you use the Eastwood Arcade, can you please stand up? Raise your hand, stand up. Yeah? Okay, so lots of people use the Eastwood Arcade. Not all of them just living in Eastwood. So keep in mind that when you're walking up the street on the Eastwood side of the street, it's not usually one person at a time. There's 3, 4, 5 people, so you may not be able to crowd over quite as you would have hoped. So I'm wondering, and you know, my concern is that our residents be warm, safe, and that Main Street be a viable community. And I'm wondering if one of the things that you might be able to consider might be some non-glare kind of glass, so that your eye can penetrate it without that reflection and makes it look like you're walking down Rikers Island. And that was what one of your staff, in fact, called it, pointed out to me this week when I was speaking to him. So I think that certainly softening that concrete canyon with some plantings of some kind and putting more user-friendly lighting. I was delighted to hear that you want to get rid of the pigeons, as much as we all love the birds. And another thing that I wanted to comment about is that we have another surface that you might be using in order to break up with color, and that's the floors. You know, I saw what you did with the ceiling, and I think that's a good concept. I'm wondering whether you might be able to demarcate, you know, the areas of stores with something interesting on the floor. Another thing that I just wanted to point out is that we have a wonderful icon on Roosevelt Island that everybody relates to, and that's our tramway. So I'm just wondering whether your branding, you know, might be, using the most familiar icon that we have, the tramway might be a factor because everybody's.
Thank you. Is our Bureau Treasurer Russell Fields here this evening? Come on down.
Yes, I wanted to address a particular issue, which is where time can be saved for residents. And someone requested of me that, I speak in favor of a salad bar as a fast food alternative, possibly a chain such as Whole Foods or Pax or something to have food already prepared for sale, commonly going for $6.99 to $8.99 a pound. A chain such as Whole Foods or Pax, right? They actually provide the food. They make it in their factory. That they would bring it here and have it available at $6.99 to $8.99 a pound. And the time that could be saved would possibly be half an hour a day. In other words, you could buy it and eat it in, let's say, 20 minutes instead of spending 50 minutes. And these are particularly ubiquitous in Manhattan, and Roosevelt Island should have this type of thing also. The next issue I wanted to address was the hours of availability of the retail, that there should be a late night hours so that all the services are available to residents working and not able to have access to them otherwise. Can you imagine being able to pick up your cleaners at midnight? Well, I mean, this is something that would improve the quality of some aspects of people's lives. I would like to see something that would generally add to the quality of life as a primary consideration and not just, say it looks better. So I think, in terms of, we know what we're talking about.
Thank you, Ruth. Okay, our next speaker is the Executive Director of the Roosevelt Island Chamber of Commerce, Julie Palermo.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Julia Palermo. Presently, I am the Executive Director of the Roosevelt Island Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce would like to set up a meeting with the new real estate lease owners to discuss how we can work together to bring final quality service to our community, including the concerns of the existing merchants. I hope to hear from Hudson related in the near future. Thank you.
Hi, Julia. Let me just say, to reiterate what I said before, it's a different environment now. I don't want it to be a politicized environment, and so nobody has to wait for a community meeting to give a public speech to say we want to get together. You can just call me, the lines are open, we'd be happy to, sit down.
Main Street Wire does that. That's me. They have all
Well, we don't know how to contact them.
How do we contact them?
We'll be able to. Thank you.
I can provide information on those. Okay, our next speaker is representing the Main Street Theater and Dance Alliance. Owen Johnston, our angel for this evening. Where are you?
Hello, my name is Owen Johnston. My family and I have been residents of Roosevelt Island since 1999, and I'm the Executive Director of the Main Street Theater and Dance Alliance. I understand that the Main Street Theater is not directly affected by the current situation, but regardless, I'd like to address the panel because I feel that it's important to speak on behalf of our organization, especially to those who may not know us or understand how important the programs that the Main Street Theater and Dance Alliance offers, and how for over 20 years the Main Street Theater and Dance Alliance has helped create the unique community that Roosevelt Island has become. Our staff has taught at major universities and well-known studios across New York and across the country. They have performed, like myself, on Broadway, in national tours, regional theaters, and other venues across the country and the world. They bring their vast depth of knowledge to the Main Street Theater and Dance Alliance classrooms and create a safe and nurturing environment to our students for learning, and whether they're dancing, acting, or in the fitness classes. Not only do we offer exceptional acting, dancing, and exercise class experiences, but of equal importance, we create a social setting where people of all ages, from all walks of life and all over the world, can come and meet and develop friendships with others that may have the children of the same age or mutual interests in the arts. The relationships that are forged by coming to the Main Street Theater and Dance Alliance have sparked lifelong friendships, not just for the kids, but also for the parents and other adults that frequent our classrooms. Main Street Theater and Dance Alliance, the Alliance's types of programs, are how we bring the residents of Roosevelt Island and even off-islanders together, is how the fabric of our community becomes interwoven in such a way that makes Roosevelt Island not just unique to New York City, but anywhere. After I reached out to our Main Street Theater and Dance Alliance family, I received many emails of support and encouragement for this evening's meeting. The following is an email from a family who has moved away but has plans to return in 2012. She writes, It is no exaggeration to say that the Main Street Theater and Dance Alliance is the pearl of Roosevelt Island. It's a place where children and adults alike can find their inner theatrical selves, can learn to express themselves both vocally and physically, where we can come together and meet and make friends with Roosevelt Islanders from all over the island. Our 4 daughters took ballet with Main Street Theater and Dance Alliance starting at 4 years old and continued 4 years up through till our recent temporary move to Stockholm, Sweden. It's given them a love for dancing and grace that we entirely credit to the marvelous Main Street Theater and Dance Alliance teachers. Speaking as a parent with multiple elementary school age children, the bottom line is that it would be inconceivable for me to consider the logistics involved with off-island after-school activities for my children. It's a blessing to have a convenient central location in our very own Roosevelt Island, where we can easily and comfortably bring our children, and where our children can meet and make new friends from their own community. Sincerely, Karina Sakmar. All that being said, it's my belief, and I think it's shared by many, that Roosevelt Island is and will continue to be a better place because of the Main Street Theater and Dance Alliance, one of our cornerstones of Roosevelt Island community. Thanks.
I'd like to bring to the microphone now our second angel of the evening, the Roosevelt Island Visual Arts Association President, Ted Seagal.
My name is Ted Seagal, and I would like to share with you a few comments as a Riva president, as an architect, and as an islander living here for 20 years with my family. David, Jonathan, and Kathy, thank you for your presentation. I would say that it was terrific, and I would like to propose to you and to our community to have this presentation in our Riva gallery in form of the big posters or enlarged images. I think that many of the islanders, we are talking about 14,000 living over here, they didn't see it. And they will see probably the article in the Wire, but they will not see those images. So my suggestion, please think about it. The art is economic engine stimulating businesses and their revenues. And as a such engine, art is recognized by planners all over the world. We have to admit that people are coming, tourists from all over the world to New York, not because of Bloomingdale's, not because of Macy's, but because of Metropolitan Museum, about the galleries, theaters, and others. If art places are not making too much money, but Macy's, Bloomingdale's, and other stores are doing it, thanks to art. There is a clear saying, where art exists, communities flourish. 50 years ago, David Rockefeller hired visionary architect Philip Johnson to change the Welfare Island into the most unique settlement in the United States. It was José Serret who built this arcade. It was José Serret who designed those 2 buildings. And he is one of the famous architects, Jonathan, you mentioned him. We brought, I'm saying we, community, brought to our island the last work of Louis Kahn. It's under construction right now. In our gallery, we presented this project. We had the full set of drawings of José Serret, and community was divided, but at least we had discussion. Roosevelt Island is a unique place with unique community and requires unique and carefully analyzed approach to any plans and programs, especially to plans changing our Main Street. Main Street should be revived. Cannot exist as it is right now. Agree completely. But in this process, we should recognize what is the best and unique and already exists, and make every effort to preserve it and enhance it. That's what we call unique approach. I received an email today from Marla Kleinman. She was for 20 years teaching art on this island. And she wrote to me, Roosevelt Island is such an artsy place, a highlight to be unique with the main streets of America, dying and being outsourced to Walmart. And that's not comparison to what we see today as a presentation. I like the presentation. We are unique because we also have the Gallery Riva. This is internationally recognized, a bright, colorful, and the best kept spot on the main street. And I have to thank you, David, for making it in your speech. There is a 30 artists, passionate artists, who are putting their own time and very often their own money to present to this community almost every 2 months. New exhibition. We are bringing here the art, which is in high-end arts. Anka will bring her new last show to Paris next year. We are recognized by international magazines, and we are promoting Riva, not only Riva, Roosevelt Island, all over the world as we can. This is not only Gallery Riva. This is not only art gallery. This is a cultural hub with high-end art exhibition, with concerts, with poetry readings, with movie screenings, with book signings, with opening reception, with hospital show every year, with students show every 2 years, with cerebral palsy show every 2 years. Concerts, of course. The singing, the ballet. I already mentioned it. My appealing to all of us, community and to Hudson related, is let's stay unique. Let's keep what is the best, and let's work together to enhance and make our island even more special than it is now. Thank you.
Kay Rizeghi of Trellis Restaurant needs no introduction.
Good evening. First off, I would like to thank everyone that stayed for the presentation. I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time for showing up today. I'd like to thank everyone for their support. For those of you who don't know us, I'm Alex. My father came from Trellis, 549 Main Street next door. I'm proud to say that I'm a product. I'm proud to say that I'm a product of Roosevelt Island. I grew up next door. Me and my father have strived to do our best for the community. We have strived to keep our prices lower than every other diner in the tri-state area. We have we've struggled to keep our doors open through blackouts, through transit strikes, through snowstorms. We've always made it a priority to be here for the community. Thank you. But we aren't done yet. We'd like to continue to be here for the community. We'd like to build on our initial investment here. For the last 3 years, we have been struggling to renew our lease. We have been struggling to make improvements, and we have not been allowed, we have not had the ability to make these improvements because we've had no lease. We welcome the professional management of retail spaces to the island. We're happy you're here. We hope that we can work together with you. And we hope that we can provide something more for the community.
If you are what you eat, I am at least 2/3 trellis carpet. Okay, folks, here's what we're going to do. Some folks have just given me a sentence or two that they want read, and I will do that. Others have asked to be recognized, and we'll do that too. And we'll take as many people as we can, one at a time, into a world of all exhausted and go home. For example, the first card I've got here is a question for David. What is the price per square foot to lease retail space?
For you? We're negotiable. You know, we're going to be asking in the $35 to $50 range, and we're going to make deals depending upon how excited we are, the credit of the tenant, the size of the space. Right now, we're getting $40 to $45 a square foot in all of our Riverwalk stores. And I've heard people say, "Oh, but that's Riverwalk." And to me, I think the Main Street corridor, when it becomes something along those lines, is a better location. There's more foot traffic on Main Street, more people live on Main Street, near Main Street, than Riverwalk Commons. You know, to me, the Riverwalk Commons is sort of ignored by a lot of people on the island who just take the West Service Drive or walk or take the shuttle bus. So, you know, I think the Main Street location is going to be great, and the real answer is, I'm not in control of these market matters. We will get what we will get. We'll try and push rents. We'll try and get great stores. And so our ask is going to be in the $35 to $50 range.
Now here, Anna at 455 Main Street has given me a few sentences. Anna, do you want to make your own case, or shall I read it for you? I'll read it for you. You didn't mention Gristedes. It is a horrible store. Oh, I know you don't mean it. With expensive food, bad quality food, and looks dirty and disorganized. Why not have a nicer supermarket, something like Whole Foods? That's the question.
So we basically stepped into Riot's shoes. So whatever the leases are, that's what we are. It's being assigned to us. So we've been assigned the Gristedes lease, which runs for another 15 or 18 or 20 years. So our job is to enforce the lease. And the lease has not been enforced by Riot in terms of it's a large document. It says you have to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm not going to get into the details, and I'm not going to speak about it publicly, but I share many of the sentiments that you do about lots of stores, and I think that we can do a better job of holding Gristedes accountable. And at a minimum, the Gristedes of Roosevelt Island should be like a lot of the other Gristedes in Manhattan, which I don't think is the case today. So we have reviewed the lease, we've sat down with the manager. Like the other tenants, we have high expectations for Gristede in terms of the standards, in terms of what they're expected to do. Certain things that they haven't done, we're going to insist that they do. And that's the best we can do. So as the landlord stepping into a longer-term lease with Gristedes, we're going to do the best job that we can on behalf of the island.
Now, I would be insane to try to speak for our next speaker, Ray Schwartz. I'm sure you want to speak for yourself.
Yes.
I know you would.
Hi, everybody. You all hear me?
Okay, is that better? Okay. Number one, I thank you all for coming. I think you saw by the reaction to Kate and Alex from Trellis, I think you see what the general sentiment is. A few months ago, there was an article in Crane's New York Business, and for some reason, it seems that the reporter blamed it on input from the Hudson and related. I'm sure you would never have done or said what was in that article. But the gist of it is that we have no sit-down restaurants on Roosevelt Island, and the poor slobs that live here only, alas, have only bad takeout food. I even emailed the person at Crane's New York Business, and the best I heard was, well, that's what they were led to believe by the people who are developing the master lease. So I want to know, number one, is there anybody in your organization, perhaps, who's feeding that kind of nonsense to the media? Because as you can see, we do have several sit-down restaurants here, and thank you. And while I believe, Rick, on one of your blogs, somebody said that we really are in dire need of a lovely sit-down restaurant with white tablecloths, etc., etc. And maybe there are some people who would find that a wonderful thing to have here. Now that I'm a new grandmother, as my granddaughter starts eating solid food and slopping it all over the place, I don't see taking her into a lovely high-end restaurant with white tablecloths and that kind of service. Now, the reality is that there are many people here with young families, and while there are some people here who are very, very well off, there are also people here who are on moderate incomes, and I think all of us who've had young children know that you need children's menus in restaurants, and high-end restaurants don't always supply them. So what I would ask is that you really consider leaving Trellis alone. Don't get rid of them. If you want to bring a lovely high-end restaurant in here, as you said, people should have choices. I'm in agreement that people should have choices, and they should have the choice of takeout, home delivery, white tablecloths, and Trellis, among others. The second thing is one of the two big chains that you have on Riverwalk Commons is Duane Reade. My comment on the card, I don't know if you've had a chance to see it, it is now turned into a wannabe 7-Eleven. The pharmacy is minuscule. It takes up a very tiny part. When they first opened, they had a delivery service because they were replacing the Bigelow Pharmacy, which was a pharmacy for many years before Gallery Riva took over the space. And they did deliver. As you can see by the number of people here on walkers and wheelchairs, when people need a prescription filled and delivered, they can't get it because Duane Reade stopped. They started delivering, and all of a sudden, without warning, they pulled the delivery service. They claimed they couldn't afford to do it anymore, and when we said, well, why not? There's so many college kids here who would be glad to have, to do deliveries in the afternoon. Oh, it's a violation of HIPAA laws. Those are the Health Information Privacy and Portability Act laws. It's not a violation of HIPAA laws to have home delivery for a drugstore. They're constantly running out of pharmaceuticals who call for a prescription, and they're going to have it in 3 days or 4 days, even if you're a repeat customer. And it just, the litany goes on and on. So one of the things I would urge is that either you enforce the lease that you have with them or replace them with another pharmacy that is better service to the community. And I thank you for listening.
Yeah, just a few responses. No, nobody from my organization would tell Cranes there are no sit-down restaurants on Roosevelt Island when there are many sit-down restaurants on Roosevelt Island. Why would we say that? And we do enforce the terms of the lease, but I'm pretty sure the Duane Reade lease doesn't go into the kind of details of do you deliver. We enforce what we can enforce, which usually has to do with the exterior, a certain period of space from the storefront in. But other than that, everybody has to understand each other's roles. As the landlord, we don't tell them how to run their business. We don't tell them whether a delivery service is profitable or not. And you vote with your feet. And so, the idea that, we're bringing in a white tablecloth restaurant. We're going to be open for business, and restaurants have to do their due diligence and decide if they're going to make money, and to decide if a hamburger is going to cost this much or this much. And if they open up and they're not doing well, they're going to have to adjust. And, that's the law of the marketplace. In fact, I think one of the negatives about the current retail environment, leasing dating back 20 years, is that the rents are too low, they're way below market, and as a result, it doesn't create the right environment where retailers feel that they have to be on their game, be on their A game. And I see it a lot. And I think with market rate rents, it'll be a test of, either it works or it doesn't. And it's not going to be up to me, it's going to be up to the tenants, and it's going to be up to whether the community supports them. But I'm of the opinion on a macro basis that 14,000 people can support far more food uses than what we currently have now. In fact, it's laughable. Once you go north of Riverwalk, the only 2 food options are China One and Trellis. That's it for all the Northtown buildings in Octagon. It's crazy. So, we're going to be open for business with restaurants, and, we got some feedback from the survey about Indian restaurants, Mexican restaurants, Asian restaurants, but then ultimately it comes down to the details. Is there somebody who wants to open up a Mexican restaurant, who wants to pay the rents we're looking for, who like the space we're suggesting that can be, vented with a commercial kitchen? And, we'll see how that plays out.
Don't sit down, because I got a question. It's a good question. How can an independent entrepreneur bid on the space?
How can an independent entrepreneur bid on a space? So our retail broker is Hal Shapiro with Winnick Realty. If you just write down Hal Shapiro, Winnick Realty, I'm sure you can find him. You can Google Winnick Realty. You can get his name and contact number.
How do you spell it?
Winnick is W-I-N-I-C-K. His name is Hal Shapiro. And the fact